They told us this would never happen, and yet here we are, staring at one of the most controversial, rage-inducing weeks in modern wrestling. Because what you're about to hear doesn't just flip storylines upside down, it straight up humiliates careers, exposes backstage chaos, and threatens to rewrite the Royal Rumble forever. Bron Breakker walked in thinking he was the future. The Vision walked out making him look like a temporary experiment. And before you say I'm exaggerating, ask yourself this. When was the last time a can't-miss prospect got erased this fast? Bron Breakker has been built like a wrecking ball. Power, intensity, explosiveness. WWE shoved him down our throats as the next big monster, the heir to the Steiner legacy, the guy who was supposed to bulldoze anyone standing in his way. But then, the Vision arrived, not out of nowhere but with purpose. Cold, calculated, surgical. This wasn't a lucky win. This wasn't a fluke. This was a statement execution. Every spear Bron threw, scouted. Every burst of power, neutralized. Every moment meant to make Bron look dominant, turned into fuel for his own destruction. The Vision didn't just beat Bron Breakker, he exposed him. And here's the part that should make you furious: WWE didn't protect Bron. No distraction, no cheap finish, no outside interference. They let it happen clean in the middle of the ring in front of everyone. That's not a loss, that's a message. So let me ask you this, be honest in the comments: is Bron Breakker already buried, or does this make him better? Because history tells us something brutal: when WWE decides you're not ready, the fall is fast and unforgiving. And while that firestorm was still burning, another earthquake shook the wrestling world. Because the rumors aren't whispers anymore, Brock Lesnar is circling the Royal Rumble. Yeah, that Brock Lesnar. The same Brock who doesn't come back unless there's a reason. The same Brock who doesn't return to put people over unless it benefits him. The same Brock who turns the Royal Rumble into a massacre the moment his music hits. And here's what should scare you: this return doesn't feel nostalgic. It feels predatory. Multiple sources are pointing to a scenario where Brock doesn't just enter the Rumble, he destroys it. Imagine this. Entrant after entrant gets tossed like trash, top stars flattened in seconds, dreams shattered in under 5 minutes. Why? Because WWE might be setting up the most rage-inducing outcome possible: Brock Lesnar winning the Royal Rumble again. Let that sink in. New talent starving for opportunity, fans begging for fresh faces, and WWE potentially handing the golden ticket back to the most dominant part-timer of all time. So here's another question you need to answer: if Brock Lesnar returns at the Royal Rumble, should he win? Yes or absolutely not? Because no matter which side you're on, chaos is guaranteed. And just when you think things couldn't get more unhinged, reality crashes the party. Liv Morgan. The headlines didn't come from the ring this time, they came from the real world. Liv Morgan bailing herself out isn't just gossip fodder, it's a nightmare scenario for WWE's PR machine. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, let's be clear: Liv handled the situation quickly, professionally, quietly. She took control. But the damage? It's already done. Because perception in wrestling is everything. Liv Morgan has fought tooth and nail to escape the underdog label and step into legitimacy. And now, one real-world incident threatens to overshadow months of progress. The scariest part: WWE's reaction. No loud support, no public reassurance, just silence. And silence in WWE is never accidental. So here's the uncomfortable question fans are avoiding: does this change how WWE views Liv Morgan moving forward? Because we've seen this movie before and it rarely has a happy ending. 3 stories, 3 ticking time bombs. Bron Breakker humbled, Brock Lesnar looming, Liv Morgan under a microscope. This isn't just wrestling drama, this is WWE at its most volatile. Careers are being reshaped in real time, and the fallout hasn't even peaked yet. So I want you to decide how this all ends. Drop your answers in the comments. Did the Vision go too far with Bron Breakker? Is Brock Lesnar's Royal Rumble return exciting or exhausting? Should WWE stand behind Liv Morgan or quietly pull back? Read the comments, argue, disagree, share this with someone who thinks WWE is predictable, because right now, it's anything but. And trust me, the next move WWE makes, it's going to make this week look tame. Because if you think this chaos ends here, you're not paying attention. What's happening right now feels deliberate, almost cruel. WWE isn't stumbling into controversy, they're engineering it. Let's go back to Bron Breakker for a second, because the aftermath is even more telling than the loss itself. Watch his body language. Watch the way commentary suddenly changed their tone. No longer unstoppable, no longer future world champion. Now it's hesitation, now it's questions, now it's doubt. That's dangerous territory for someone WWE once presented as a human wrecking machine. When a monster starts thinking, the monster stops being scary. And the Vision knew that. This wasn't about winning, it was about rewiring Bron's identity. Here's what nobody's talking about. Bron Breakker didn't lose strength, he lost belief. And once that's gone, WWE has a choice: rebuild him slowly or replace him entirely. So let me throw this one at you: should Bron Breakker turn darker and more vicious, or has his moment already passed? Because the roster is not waiting for him. And speaking of predators who don't wait, if Brock Lesnar enters the Royal Rumble, someone's momentum is getting obliterated. That's not speculation, that's history. Brock doesn't coexist. He dominates space. He consumes time. He steals oxygen from everyone else in the match. And here's the twist that should make your blood boil. What if Brock isn't there to win? What if he's there to eliminate the future? Imagine Brock tossing out rising stars one by one, the very same names fans are begging WWE to push. Not to elevate them, not to make them look strong, but to remind everyone that the past still owns the present. That's not nostalgia, that's control. And WWE loves control. So answer this honestly: would Brock Lesnar eliminating your favorite wrestler ruin the Royal Rumble for you or make it unforgettable? Because there is no middle ground. Now let's talk about Liv Morgan, because this situation is far more fragile than people realize. Liv has always survived on connection. The fans relate to her. They root for her. They defend her. But WWE has never fully trusted her. And moments like this, fair or not, give them an excuse. An excuse to cool her off. An excuse to quietly remove her from big plans. An excuse to reassess. That's the terrifying part. Not punishment, not backlash, but quiet distance. And if Liv doesn't come back louder, sharper, and more undeniable than ever, that distance becomes permanent. So here's the real question fans are afraid to ask: does Liv Morgan need to reinvent herself completely to survive WWE's system? Because sympathy fades fast in this company. And when you line all of this up: Braun's collapse, Brock's shadow, Liv's uncertainty, it paints a picture WWE doesn't want you to notice. They're not building stars. They're testing them. Fail the test, you fade out. Pass it, you become undeniable. That's why the next few weeks matter more than any promo, any match, any rumor. This is the pressure point. So don't just watch, engage. Comment like it matters. Argue your side. Defend your favorites. Because whether WWE listens or not, the conversation is already louder than they expected. And trust me, the fallout from all of this, it's going to be brutal. And brutal is exactly what WWE thrives on. Because when the pressure is highest, when the fanbase is divided, angry, loud, and emotional, that's when the machine moves fastest. And right now, every single piece on the board is in danger of getting sacrificed. Let's talk about what nobody wants to admit. Bron Breakker wasn't just defeated, he was measured. WWE needed to know one thing: can Bron survive embarrassment? Because anyone can look dominant when everything goes their way. But the real test is what happens when the spotlight burns instead of shines. And if Bron comes back hesitating, second-guessing, or trying to wrestle smarter instead of meaner, the experiment is over. This is the moment where legends are forged or quietly written off. So here's another comment section grenade for you: should Bron Breakker abandon the powerhouse role and evolve, or double down and become even more violent? Because indecision is death in WWE. Now zoom out, because Brock Lesnar's shadow doesn't just fall on the Royal Rumble, it poisons everything around it. Every superstar training right now is asking the same question: what's the point if Brock just shows up? That's the problem. The Royal Rumble is supposed to be hope. Brock Lesnar is inevitability. And here's the scariest scenario of all: what if Brock doesn't win, but doesn't lose either? What if he eliminates half the field, gets taken out through chaos, and still walks away looking like the final boss? Because that might be worse than winning. That tells the locker room you didn't beat him, you survived him. And survival doesn't build stars, victory does. So answer this honestly: is Brock Lesnar elevating the Royal Rumble, or holding it hostage? Because depending on that answer, WWE has a serious problem. And then there's Liv Morgan, caught in a situation where timing couldn't be more unforgiving. The women's division doesn't pause, it replaces. Momentum doesn't wait, it moves on. Liv's biggest threat right now isn't criticism, it's indifference. If WWE senses even a slight dip in fan support, they'll pivot instantly. Another face will take her spot. Another story will get priority. Another push will quietly vanish. That's how fast it happens. Which is why Liv's next appearance matters more than any title match she's ever had. She doesn't need sympathy. She needs dominance. She needs presence. She needs a moment so undeniable that WWE can't look away. So let's get real in the comments: should Liv Morgan return as the same underdog, or a completely colder, more ruthless version of herself? Because reinvention is survival. And when you stack all of this together, the humiliation, the looming returns, the real-world controversy, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. WWE is entering a reset phase. Old formulas are breaking, new stars are being stress-tested, and the fanbase is more divided than ever. This isn't comfort food wrestling. This is pressure cooker wrestling. So don't just sit back and consume it. debate it, share it, tag someone who's already mad. Because the next shock, the next betrayal, the next return, the next burial is closer than you think. And when it happens, you'll remember this moment.